Mircea Eliade, one of the most influential historians of religion and thinkers of the 20th century, explores in the myth of the eternal return, originally published in 1949 as Le Mythe de l'Éternel Retour, Archetypes et Repetition, the ways in which archaic and traditional societies perceive time, history, and existence. His work is a foundational text in the study of religion and myth, as it provides a framework for understanding the symbolic structures through which human beings relate to the sacred and the profane, the cyclical and the linear, the mundane and the transcendent. Eliade begins with a fundamental distinction between modern and archaic conceptions of time. In modern societies, time is experienced as linear, historical, and irreversible. History is viewed as a continuous sequence of events, often characterized by progress, development, or decline. In contrast, traditional or archaic societies perceive time as cyclical, repetitive, and filled with meaning derived from sacred models. These societies do not merely measure the passage of time. They live in a cosmos structured by myth and ritual, where the present can be reconnected to a sacred archetype from the distant past. This connection allows for the renewal of life and the recreation of order in a universe otherwise marked by chaos. Central to Eliade's argument is the concept of repetition of the mythical archetype, which he identifies as the key mechanism by which archaic peoples affirm and preserve the sacred order. Rituals, festivals, and mythic reenactments serve to return participants to a primordial moment of creation or cosmic harmony. By ritually repeating sacred events, human beings escape the ordinary, profane flow of history and temporarily participate in a time that is qualitatively different, what Eliade terms mythical time. This is not merely nostalgic or symbolic. It is a lived experience in which the sacred intervenes in the ordinary. Examples include the seasonal agricultural rites that reenact creation myths, initiation ceremonies that mirror the trials of culture heroes, or funerary rituals that echo the death and resurrection of gods or ancestors. The structure of sacred versus profane time forms another cornerstone of Eliade's thesis. Profane time, corresponding to ordinary everyday existence, is characterized by chaos, repetition without meaning, and the inevitability of decay. Sacred time, in contrast, is non-chronological and qualitatively different. It is eternal, formative, and regenerative. Through ritual, humans are able to step outside profane time and momentarily participate in sacred time, experiencing a return to the cosmic order. The significance of this lies in the psychological and social stabilization it provides. Rituals reaffirm the values, cosmologies, and hierarchies that sustain traditional societies. In Eliade's view, the archaic imagination seeks to anchor existence in the eternal, transcendent patterns exemplified by mythic archetypes. Eliade further explores cosmic symbolism in archaic thought, noting that traditional societies often use models from the heavens, the stars, or seasonal cycles to structure social and religious life. The celestial order serves as a template for human existence. The repetition of cycles in nature, day and night solstices, lunar phases, becomes a metaphor for human renewal and the restoration of cosmic harmony. Through these symbols, time is not merely a measure but a meaningful rhythm in which humans can locate themselves, ensuring that their actions align with cosmic patterns. Such synchronization of human life with cosmic time reinforces the notion of an eternal return and establishes a profound connection between humans and the sacred. Another key theme is Eliade's treatment of myth and history. Unlike historians, archaic peoples do not experience events as isolated or arbitrary. Events are meaningful only insofar as they participate in eternal archetypes. Myths recount the origin or primordial acts that serve as models for repetition. By reliving these acts through ritual, individuals reenact sacred history, rendering their own lives meaningful. This contrasts sharply with the modern conception of historical time, which often emphasizes novelty, contingency, and linear causality. Eliade emphasizes that the modern denial of cyclical sacred time leads to alienation, as humans are severed from the archetypal patterns that confer existential significance. Eliade also investigates the role of symbols in mediating between the sacred and the profane. Objects, gestures, and spaces often carry archetypal meanings and act as conduits to sacred time. For example, mountains, rivers, and temples are not merely physical locations. They are charged with cosmological significance and provide points of orientation for human action. By interacting with these symbols, archaic peoples experience a continuity with the sacred world, reaffirming both social cohesion and cosmic order. Symbols serve as tangible connections between the temporal and the eternal, allowing human beings to participate actively in the renewal of the cosmos. The concept of the eternal return extends beyond ritual and symbol to influence social and moral structures. Eliade observes that many traditional societies base ethical and legal norms on the repetition of sacred patterns. Moral conduct is often justified through reference to exemplary actions of gods, ancestors, or culture heroes. By imitating these models, individuals not only preserve social order, but also ensure cosmic harmony. The eternal return thus provides a framework for morality, law, and culture, embedding human action within a sacred temporal context. Eliade's work also engages with the contrast between archaic and modern consciousness. Modernity, characterized by secularization, linear historical time, and technological progress, undermines the structures of sacred meaning. The desacralization of time leads to existential uncertainty and the perception of life as fragmented or arbitrary. Eliade laments that the modern experience of temporality, unlike the ritualized cycles of traditional societies, offers no archetypal reference points for renewal. Yet, he also acknowledges the persistence of the archaic imagination in modern art, literature, and psychology, where myths, symbols, and archetypes continue to provide points of reference for human meaning-making. In addition, Eliade's analysis includes a detailed consideration of archaic techniques for achieving renewal. Beyond ritual repetition, he examines practices such as sacrifice, initiation, pilgrimage, and mythic storytelling, all of which serve to recreate and preserve sacred time. Through these practices, humans are not passive observers of cosmology, but active participants in the perpetuation of cosmic order. By reliving mythic acts, individuals temporarily transcend their ordinary existence, aligning themselves with eternal principles and experiencing both personal and social regeneration. A further aspect of Eliade's study is his examination of the psychological dimensions of myth and ritual. Myths and sacred repetitions provide orientation, solace, and meaning in the face of human mortality and natural unpredictability. By connecting the human experience to eternal archetypes, archaic societies mitigate existential anxiety and reinforce cultural identity. Eliade underscores that this is not superstition, but a deeply human mode of engaging with reality, one that has persisted in various forms across civilizations and eras. Finally, Eliade's work can be understood as an analysis of human longing for transcendence. The myth of the eternal return expresses a desire to overcome the limitations of profane, historical time by reconnecting with the sacred, eternal, and archetypal. Through ritual, myth, and symbol, human beings enact a form of temporal transcendence, ensuring continuity with the cosmos and affirming their place in a meaningful universe. The eternal return is thus not a mere theoretical concept, but a central axis around which traditional societies structure their worldview, ethics, and practices. In conclusion, the myth of the eternal return provides a profound exploration of the ways in which archaic and traditional societies conceptualize time, history, and existence. Eliade demonstrates that through myths, rituals, and symbols, humans participate in a cyclical, sacred time that contrasts sharply with the linear, secular temporality of modern life. By reenacting archetypal events, humans preserve cosmic order, affirm social cohesion, and experience renewal. The work highlights the enduring significance of myth and ritual in shaping human consciousness, providing both a historical analysis and a philosophical reflection on the universal human search for meaning. Eliade's study remains an essential text for scholars of religion, anthropology, literature, and philosophy, offering insights into the intersection of time, myth, and the sacred, and reminding us of the profound human need to reconnect with archetypal patterns that transcend ordinary existence.